In a competitive world, emotion is not just a feeling, it is exposure. Every time you react impulsively, you reveal something. Every time you show offense, you expose a wound. Every time anger escapes your control, you surrender strategic ground. We are told that expressing everything is strength, that reacting passionately is authenticity, that intensity equals power. But look closely at those who consistently win in business, leadership, negotiation, even social influence. They are not the loudest. They are not the most expressive. They are not the most emotionally transparent. They are the most controlled. In competitive environments, emotion becomes information, and information, in the wrong hands, becomes leverage. This is not an argument for coldness, it is an argument for sovereignty, because the moment someone can predict your emotional reaction, they can predict your decision. And the moment they can predict your decision, they can position themselves ahead of you. The Stoics understood something modern culture avoids. If you do not master your internal world, the external world will quietly master you. Today, we are not discussing how to suppress emotion. We are exposing how unmanaged emotion quietly becomes a disadvantage and how disciplined awareness transforms it into an advantage. Emotion as strategic leakage. In competition, control is currency, and emotion, when unmanaged, is leakage. Imagine sitting at a negotiation table. You feel irritation. You show it. In that moment, you have revealed three things. You care. You are attached. You are affected. That is valuable data. Anger signals vulnerability. Offense signals ego attachment. Anxiety signals fear of loss. Overexcitement signals dependency on outcome. Every visible reaction narrows your position. As Epictetus taught, it is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. The disturbance is internal, but when displayed externally, it becomes exploitable. In competitive systems, corporate environments, leadership hierarchies, high-performance spaces, people are constantly assessing emotional stability, not consciously, but instinctively. The individual who reacts first often loses leverage first, because emotion, when visible, answers questions your opponent hasn't even asked yet. What frustrates you? What threatens you? What you cannot afford to lose? And once that is known, strategy shifts. The Stoic advantage is not emotional numbness, it is emotional containment. Not because feeling is weakness, but because broadcasting it prematurely is. Control does not eliminate emotion, it delays exposure. And in competition, delay is power. Predictability is the real weakness. In competition, the greatest vulnerability is not lack of talent, it is predictability. The moment your emotions become predictable, your behavior becomes programmable. If someone knows what frustrates you, they can trigger it. If they know what flatters you, they can manipulate it. If they know what you fear losing, they can threaten it. Emotional reactivity creates patterns. Patterns create anticipation. Anticipation destroys advantage. Most people believe power comes from intensity. In reality, power comes from composure. Consider this carefully. If I can make you angry on command, I can control your next move. Anger narrows perception. Fear accelerates decisions. Pride blinds evaluation. And once your emotional state dictates your timing, you are no longer choosing, you are reacting. This is why disciplined restraint is feared. When someone remains calm under pressure, they become unreadable. When they are unreadable, they are difficult to position against. When they are difficult to position against, they control the pace. As Seneca warned, the man who is ruled by passion is not free. And in competitive environments, lack of freedom means lack of strategic flexibility. Emotional unpredictability is not chaos. It is composure. It is the refusal to be externally programmed. When others escalate, you slow down. When others panic, you observe. When others reveal, you conceal. This is not manipulation, it is discipline. And discipline in a competitive world is the rarest advantage. The hidden cost: emotional narrowing of perception. Emotion does something dangerous in competitive environments. It shrinks your field of vision. When you are angry, you stop analyzing, you start attacking. When you are afraid, you stop evaluating, you start protecting. When you are attached, you stop calculating, you start clinging. Emotion simplifies reality, and competition punishes oversimplification. A leader who reacts in anger misses nuance. An investor who reacts in fear abandons long-term strategy. A professional who reacts in insecurity overcompensates and reveals it. The problem is not emotion itself, it is the cognitive distortion that follows. Strong emotional states create mental tunnel vision. They amplify what feels urgent and minimize what requires patience. And in environments where timing, precision, and perception determine outcomes, this narrowing becomes costly. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself repeatedly that events are neutral. It is our interpretation that gives them weight. When interpretation becomes emotional rather than deliberate, clarity collapses, and clarity is competitive capital. Consider this. When you are emotionally charged, you are no longer analyzing the full board. You are reacting to one piece. Meanwhile, the composed individual sees the entire structure. They notice what is unsaid. They detect shifts in tone. They observe hesitation. They calculate long-term consequences. Calm expands perception. Emotion contracts it. In competition, expanded perception creates options, and options create leverage. The disciplined mind does not suppress feeling. It pauses before allowing feeling to shape judgment. That pause, often just seconds, is where advantage is built. Because in that pause, you regain width of vision, and the person who sees more wins more. The illusion of emotional expression as strength. Modern culture celebrates emotional expression as courage. Say exactly what you feel. Don't hold it in. Show them your passion. But in competitive environments, constant emotional transparency is not bravery. It is exposure without strategy. There is a profound difference between emotional honesty and emotional impulsiveness. The first is intentional. The second is uncontrolled, and only one of them builds respect. Epictetus taught that freedom begins the moment we distinguish what is within our control from what is not. Your emotions arise naturally. That is human. But displaying them without discipline is a choice. In high-stakes environments, the person who reveals everything gives away positioning. Think carefully. When you show irritation, you confirm pressure points. When you show desperation, you confirm urgency. When you show insecurity, you confirm hierarchy. And hierarchy is always being assessed even when no one speaks about it. The Stoic does not deny feeling. He regulates timing. He chooses when emotion serves clarity and when silence serves power. Because strength is not measured by how intensely you feel. It is measured by how precisely you act despite what you feel. Seneca warned that uncontrolled passion is temporary madness. Not because emotion is evil, but because in its peak, reason retreats. And where reason retreats, structure collapses. The disciplined individual understands something subtle. You do not need to broadcast emotion to validate it. You can feel deeply and still move strategically. That is not repression. That is maturity. And maturity, in competitive systems, is rare enough to be intimidating. The false solution, suppression, is not mastery. When people realize emotion can cost them, they often swing to the opposite extreme. They try to suppress it. They numb it. They deny it. They pretend it isn't there. But suppression is not control. It is delayed eruption. Unprocessed emotion does not disappear, it accumulates pressure, and pressure eventually leaks through passive aggression, impulsive decisions, misdirected frustration, or silent resentment. The Stoics never taught emotional denial. They taught emotional examination. Marcus Aurelius did not eliminate frustration, he wrote through it. Seneca did not reject fear, he analyzed it. Epictetus did not ignore disturbance, he questioned the judgment behind it. Mastery begins with awareness. Instead of asking, "How do I stop feeling this?" the Stoic asks, "What belief is producing this feeling?" This changes everything. Anger often hides wounded pride. Anxiety often hides fear of losing status. Jealousy often hides insecurity about value. When you trace emotion to its underlying assumption, you regain control. Because once you identify the belief, you can challenge it. Is this truly a threat? Is this actually loss? Is this about reality or about ego? Suppression buries emotion. Examination disarms it. and only one of those creates durable strength. In competition, you do not win by becoming cold. You win by becoming clear. Clarity transforms emotion from a reaction into information you can interpret before anyone else sees it. And when you interpret first, you act deliberately. That is not numbness. That is sovereignty. Detachment from outcome. The ultimate competitive advantage. There is one form of emotional vulnerability that hides in plain sight. Attachment to outcome. You want the deal. You want the promotion. You want the approval. You want the recognition. And the moment you need it, you weaken your position. Because need creates tension. Tension creates urgency. Urgency creates mistakes. When your identity becomes tied to a specific result, your clarity begins to erode. Every delay feels like rejection. Every obstacle feels personal. Every disagreement feels like threat. This is where emotion quietly becomes expensive. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, focus on the task, release the outcome. Why? Because attachment distorts judgment. If you must win, you negotiate poorly. If you must be liked, you compromise your standards. If you must succeed immediately, you abandon long-term strategy. The Stoic competitor operates differently. He prepares fully. He acts decisively. And then he releases psychological dependency on the result. This creates something rare, calm intensity. You care about excellence, but you are not emotionally owned by the reward, and that changes your posture. When you are detached, you listen better. You wait longer. You speak less. You walk away when necessary. And the ability to walk away is one of the strongest signals of power in any competitive setting. Attachment whispers, I can't lose this. Discipline responds, I will not lose myself over this. That distinction protects your clarity. In a competitive world, the person who needs the outcome least often negotiates best, not because they lack ambition, but because their judgment remains unclouded. Detachment does not reduce performance, it stabilizes it, and stability over time outperforms emotional intensity. Emotional control as silent authority. There is a reason calm individuals command attention without raising their voice. Emotional control signals internal order, and internal order is instinctively associated with competence. In competitive environments, people are constantly scanning for stability, not consciously but instinctively. They observe posture, tone, pacing, micro-reactions. When pressure rises and someone remains composed, a subtle shift occurs in the room. Authority recalibrates, because composure communicates something powerful. I am not threatened, and the individual who is not easily threatened is difficult to destabilize. Epictetus taught that no person can harm you unless you permit your judgment to interpret it as harm. When you internalize this, your reactions slow, your face remains steady, your tone remains measured. You stop competing emotionally, and that changes the hierarchy. Most people attempt to dominate through intensity, louder speech, sharper responses, visible conviction. But intensity often masks fragility. True authority is quieter. It is the ability to absorb pressure without broadcasting it. When you do not flinch under criticism, you unsettle the critic. When you do not react to provocation, you frustrate the manipulator. When you remain steady during uncertainty, you become the reference point. Calm is contagious, but so is panic. The disciplined mind becomes an anchor in unstable environments, and anchors naturally draw influence. This is not performance, it is training. Emotional control is not about appearing strong, it is about becoming unshakable. And in a competitive world, the unshakable are rarely challenged twice. The discipline of the pause, where advantage is built. Most defeats in competitive environments do not happen because of ignorance. They happen because of immediacy. An immediate reply, an immediate defense, an immediate reaction. Speed feels powerful, but unexamined speed is often emotional. The Stoics understood the value of interruption not of others, but of themselves. Between stimulus and response there is a gap. That gap is invisible, but inside it, hierarchy is decided. When someone challenges you and you react instantly, you operate from impulse. When you pause even briefly, you reclaim authorship of your response. Marcus Aurelius trained himself to examine impressions before accepting them as truth. He did not deny his first reaction. He delayed his endorsement of it. That distinction is subtle and transformative. The pause accomplishes three things. First, it separates fact from interpretation. Second, it reduces emotional intensity. Third, it restores strategic awareness. In competition, the person who controls timing controls momentum. Emotional people surrender timing. Disciplined individuals manipulate it. When you pause, you observe tone, you assess intention, you calculate consequence. And often, you realize that reacting would cost more than remaining still. The pause is not weakness, it is compression. Like a coiled spring, it gathers control before releasing action if action is even necessary. Most provocations dissolve when not fed. Most power struggles fade when not reciprocated, and most emotional traps fail when timing is withheld. The disciplined pause turns emotion into insight, and insight, when applied deliberately, becomes advantage, transforming emotion into strategic intelligence. Emotion is not the enemy. Unexamined emotion is. When disciplined correctly, emotion becomes data, internal data. Anger reveals where you feel disrespected. Fear reveals where you feel vulnerable. Jealousy reveals where you feel inadequate. Anxiety reveals where you crave certainty. Instead of reacting outwardly, the Stoic turns inward first. What is this teaching me about myself? This is where emotional intelligence becomes strategic intelligence. Most people project emotion onto the environment. The disciplined individual extracts insight from it. If anger arises, he does not explode, he investigates. Is this about ego? Is this about status? Is this about insecurity? By tracing the source, he strengthens self-knowledge. And self-knowledge is a competitive multiplier. Because when you understand your own triggers, others cannot weaponize them. When you understand your own fears, others cannot intimidate you with them. When you understand your own desires, others cannot manipulate you through them. Seneca wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. The disciplined mind tests imagination before reacting to it. Emotion becomes signal, not command. And when emotion becomes signal, it sharpens perception rather than distorting it. You begin to notice patterns. What consistently unsettles you? What consistently tempts you? What consistently destabilizes you? Those patterns are not weaknesses to hide. They are weaknesses to train. In a competitive world, the greatest edge is not emotional absence. It is emotional literacy. When you can read yourself clearly, you move with stability. And when you move with stability, others feel it. Not because you are cold, but because you are centered. Emotional depth versus emotional display. There is one final misunderstanding that must be dismantled. Control is not the absence of emotion. It is the refusal to be ruled by its display. You can feel deeply and remain composed. You can care intensely and remain strategic. You can experience anger and still choose dignity. The world often confuses visibility with authenticity, but authenticity is not measured by how much you reveal. It is measured by how aligned your actions are with your principles. Marcus Aurelius did not become powerful because he felt less. He became powerful because he governed himself first. Emotional display seeks relief. Emotional discipline seeks clarity. Relief is immediate. Clarity is durable. In competitive systems, durability outperforms intensity. The strongest individuals are not emotionally muted. They are emotionally trained. They understand that broadcasting every internal fluctuation weakens positioning. So they choose restraint not out of fear, but out of intention. They decide when emotion serves connection. They decide when silence serves leverage. They decide when expression serves purpose. That decision-making ability is sovereignty, and sovereignty is rare. In a competitive world, the loudest emotion rarely wins. The clearest mind does. Because when you are not fighting your internal chaos, you can see the external landscape accurately. And when you see accurately, you move precisely. That is the difference. Not between emotion and logic, but between impulse and mastery. The calm mind wins the long game. In the end, competition does not eliminate emotion. It exposes it. Pressure does not create weakness. It reveals where weakness already exists. And that is not something to fear. It is something to refine. The Stoics never promised a life without feeling. They promised a life where feeling does not overthrow reason. When you master your reactions, you become difficult to provoke, difficult to manipulate, difficult to intimidate. And in competitive environments, difficulty is strength, because most strategies depend on destabilizing the opponent. If you cannot be destabilized easily, you force others to confront themselves. That alone shifts dynamics. Remember this distinction. Emotion felt internally can deepen wisdom. Emotion displayed impulsively can diminish leverage. You do not need to harden your heart. You need to discipline your response. Calm is not passive. Calm is prepared. It is the quiet confidence of someone who understands that no external event has authority over their inner judgment. And once that understanding becomes habit, something changes. You stop competing emotionally. You start competing strategically. In a competitive world, intensity burns fast, stability endures, and over time, endurance wins.